All right, so this is going to be my review for the Mandalorian episode 4, and I didn't like this one as much. I feel like the director of this one, Bryce Dallas Howard, was definitely the weakest link of the one so far. I don't know, I feel like I don't know if it was just his directional choices or the casting. I don't know if that was his fault, but I don't know. I feel like the only good actor, only good supporting cast actor was the lady who was a widow and she had a child. Like, she was the only one who didn't seem like she was just fooling around in front of the camera. The villager, the two villagers that came up to him, the Mandalorian landed on this planet, and there were a bunch of villagers there, and they were being raided by these orcs from Lord of the Rings. Except they had guns and stuff, but basically they were orcs, and they were raiding the village of these shrimpers. And there were two guys that went to go get the Mandalorian to get him to help protect the village from the orcs, and they just they didn't seem like they were afraid. They were just bad at acting. They were just goofballs, and I don't know. And then there was this other, I believe they called her a shock troop for the rebellion. And I think that means she was a Navy SEAL for the rebellion, or a Green Beret, or something like that. But she just had this goofy smirk on her face, she was about to laugh the whole time, she didn't seem to take the show seriously. And I don't know, she just seemed bored, I don't know. I feel like there's this, millennial art, millennial film. I feel like there's this weird nonchalant, oh hum, I guess I'm gonna get into a gunfight now. Boring. And they're just, couldn't be more bored by the fact that they were in a life and death situation. And I really felt that this character, the shock troop lady, was just dripping with boredom. And I guess that, her intention was, yeah, if I act bored by a gunfight, if I'm bored by a life and death situation, maybe that will make me seem tougher. Maybe that will make me seem cooler. But it doesn't work. If you both of my grandfathers were in World War II, and they were not assholes who just walking around with this smirk on their face the whole time. You could surprise them or excite them. Yeah, they were jaded in a way. Not a lot of goofy, I don't know, not a lot of goofy problems that children face would impress them, but they could show realistic emotion. I feel like every time I've been pulled over by a cop, cops just seem like they're jaded. Not only are they jaded, but they seem irritable because they're dealing with assholes all day. They're dealing with people who don't want to talk to them. Their lives are threatened. They just have this irritated face. Okay, what is going to happen now? I don't know what's going to happen next. But this lady was just just had this goofy, yeah, I'm so bored by being so bored being on this planet. I'm so bored by being adventure. I'm being involved in adventure. I don't know. There was this weird Hercules, the Legendary Journeys quality to this episode where there's all this excessive fist fighting, and it was just what? Get out of here, Walker Texas Ranger. I don't know. I don't like action scenes that are just people punching each other, and the fights always end because the hero knocks out the other guy. The previous episode of the Mandalorian, they were just gritty. People were being dragged through the dirt, and people were getting shot, and blaster bolts were chipping away dirt and stuff like this. But it just seemed like this weird, boring Xena warrior princess, Hercules, the Legendary Journeys type of fight scenes. I don't know. And yeah, this shock troop lady just, I don't know. I feel like if she just was more grizzled, more what the hell am I going to deal with today? If she looked stressed out, which is how I would expect you to be. If you're I don't think you could go into a life-threatening situation and just be like, yeah, I got this. I can handle this. Like, you'd just be irritable. You'd be nervous. You'd be, oh God, I got to do this again. At least that's my interpretation. I've never been a cop. I've never been a soldier. But she just didn't look believable. I don't know. Just looked like she was half-assing it. And then, okay, and so then there's this other part where they're training the villagers to go to battle against the orcs. And it was so stupid. Like, they did this stupid montage, which is what you always do in training. And most of the villagers were just complete morons. Like, how many times have you seen a movie where it's like, okay, I've got to train these villagers to rise up and fight the enemy, and the villagers are just goofy. Like one villager is like has a spear, like the sharp end is pointing backwards, and he's poking the dull end, and it's like, are you kidding me? This is stupid. This is not only is it a stupid movie cliche, but you're insulting my intelligence, you idiot, Bryce Dallas Howard. Like, not only are you cliche, but you're hack. It's just, I don't know. And then, of course, like the villager lady who was the widow, who had the daughter, who was playing with Baby Yoda. Of course, she was a crack marksman. Like, she was shoot, like, bam, 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 bullseye, bullseye, bullseye. And the one thing that annoyed me was, like, why didn't anybody ask her, why are you the only one in this village who is not a complete goof? Like, why are you the only person who knows, like, how to shoot a gun? Everybody else is missing. They don't know the sharp end goes into the other guy. Like, they don't know how a spear works, but for some reason and nobody asked her why she was not a buffoon. Like, how do you not address that? I don't know. And then, I don't know, I feel like the war scenes were just so sloppy. Like, there was this one part where there was this Imperial Walker that for some reason the orcs got a hold of it, and they dug a big trap for it, and like the Imperial Walker went up to the trench and was kind of hesitant to step into the trap because it was just like a puddle of water, but they dug it really deep so that if it stepped in, it would fall into the water, and it couldn't get back out. And there was a scene where, like, bored Hercules' legendary journey lady grabbed this disintegration rifle and shot the thing and, like, through the window, like through one of the eye socket windows, and then, like, stunned it. And then it took a step forward, and I believe it fell in the water. I don't know, it just seemed sloppy. Like, for a moment, there were, like, all these orcs that were running into the village, and then it would show, like, you know, Hercules' legendary journey lady and the Mandalorian shooting, and then it would show a bunch of other villagers, like, looking down the barrel of their guns like morons, and then it would go back to the orc, and the orcs were still running, like they didn't gain any ground. Like, what was happening? And then, like, man, the two goofballs that were in the beginning, they were fighting this main orc, and I guess they finally, when they took down the Scout Walker, they finally beat him, and it was just like, that orc should have killed those guys. They don't know how spears work. He should have killed them. I don't know. All right. You know what? I did like the way Baby Yoda was interacting with the children, and I thought that was kind of cool. And it was kind of cool how the Mandalorian was like, yeah, this Baby Yoda thing, it likes it here. It should grow up here. It should have a normal childhood with these other children. And I liked some of the dynamics. I liked the dynamic between the Mandalorian and this lady who was, like, pretty attractive, and it just seemed like, oh, these two should you know, have a conversation or something. They should, like, get to know each other or something. But I don't know, they didn't do it, and I don't know. I'm not sure if I'm disappointed just because of how the villagers all were just comic relief, goofy characters. They're just walking cliches. I don't know. There were interesting things in the episode, but just the fact that Shock Troop Lady and just about every villager except for the children were all utter goons. They were just like cartoon characters. Like, none of them seemed to have the intense nervousness that you would have if orcs were raiding your village and killing you. Like they just seemed like they were clean, healthy city boys who've never had a negative experience in their lives, who've never heard the word no before, trying to figure out what it would be like to live in a village. But they were just like, oh, we're goofballs, we're cartoon characters, we don't know the spear, the pointy end goes first. I don't know. It was just that element of that element was just so annoying that it kind of made me not appreciate some of the good things that were in it. I don't know. Bryce Dallas Howard, I hope he doesn't direct any more of them. I like when Dave Filoni, who wrote it? Dave Filoni? Did he write it or direct it? Who's the other guy? Jon Favreau? I think Dave Filoni might have directed the first two. Then some lady named Margaret Chow, or something like that. Her last name was Chow. Those three, I feel like they should be the ones who direct the meat and potatoes part of the series. But I guess they filmed 8 of them already. Anyway, I feel like I've gotten used to the music. Do I have anything else to say about this? It was alright. The stupid characters just kind of... They made it a little hard to enjoy. But I don't know. I feel like I give this one a C+ just because of the goofballs. Yeah, C+. I mean, it's still worth watching, but it's... Yeah, this guy Bryce Dallas Howard, he's the weakest link in the chain. Alright, bye.